when I try and find like student athletes for the podcast, um, one of the first things I do is like reach out to coaches and kind of just pick their brains and see if they have anybody who'd be interested and or anybody who they would even recommend coming on. And Coach Kelly, so gracious enough, he's like, yes, I have like the absolute perfect runner. She needs to be on, and it was you. And so I'm glad you're on. I'm glad you agreed to come on. Um, your running career. It seems a little. It's not. I mean, at least from the site that we don't name, it seems like you haven't run that long, right?
No, I started running sophomore year
Yeah.
or
So
the
it
summer of
is.
freshman year.
Yeah. So it's still definitely a young career, for sure. But before we get into any of that stuff, I always started off with, what are some hobbies? What do you do like outside of running? Running is not everything.
I like reading, spending time with my friends and family. I love like music and stuff. I kind of used to do guitar and piano for a while there, so I like, messing.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Definitely get a good variety of hobbies from student athletes.
Mhm.
So that's cool. How did you get started running? Because I know you said it's new, so it's like,
Yeah.
how does one start now?
Well, like for a while, a lot of people told me I would be good. I did soccer for like 6 years probably. And so, I mean, I always knew I was a pretty good runner. I always seemed to be like kind of one of the best runners. And so a lot of people would tell me like I would be good at long distance. And my dad had actually been running for years and was always trying to get me to do it, but like 10-year-old me was not going to go on a 5 mile run with him. So it just kind of, uh, eventually I was like, maybe, I should do this. And I thought it would help me, condition for soccer. So I was like, might as well test it out, see if I like it. So I showed up to summer conditioning the summer of freshman year, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm kind of okay with this. I'm kind of good at this. And so I joined the team, and yeah, started there.
It's funny how soccer players always gravitate towards cross country and track. And I've talked to. It seems like recently, the past like three or four guys on here have always said like they did soccer. They maybe they didn't want to do club soccer anymore, and they just made the transition over to running full time. And I'm always curious, like, because I always ask them too, like, was it an easy transition for you? I mean, I know you said running has always been kind of easy in soccer, but obviously it's not. You're not
Mm-hmm.
running with a ball, or you're not having those like skill factors in it. Was it easy to transition to like tactical running, because it's different than what most people think of, just like, oh, we just go out for a run. It's like, well, no, there's some strategy involved.
Yeah, it was definitely like the first week of running, I was like, wow, this is really different. And, but I mean, I was able to run like 4 miles not stopping, obviously much slower than I do now, but I mean, I was able to do it. And yeah, the transition is a lot different since, like you said, soccer is so tactical and like fast sprints, like it's not the same at all. And it was a lot different trying to develop like breathing and like enduring the longer distance, which I've always seemed to have an okay stamina. Like I feel like it's been pretty good in endurance. So I feel like that's what kind of gave me like the ability to just switch over to long distance. And also at the same time, when I started cross country, I was still doing club soccer too. So I would go from, I would have no break. I'd do school for 8 hours, go to cross country, immediately leave and go to soccer practice. So I, I think I just had a lot of practice with it, and I just was able to make both of them work. And both my coaches for both teams knew that I had both. And so if we had like a workout and like a workout at soccer, like my coaches would like accommodate for that. So I feel like I wasn't overworking myself, so they made it easy too.
Now, are you still doing soccer, like
No,
club, or no?
actually, this is my first year not doing club. Last year I did club, and sophomore year I did club, and junior year I started track. But before that, I was doing school soccer. So yeah, this is my first year now.
Wow, that's an adjustment to
It
say the
is.
least. Um, but I always tell I tell my son this too because he played soccer at the middle school and he was trying to do track at the same time, and I'm like, man, like it's tough. It's tough because if you have these goals that you want to hit, and he was trying to, we kind of had a goal in mind to try and break 5 in the mile, and it's like, man, you got to put everything into one because it's such a hard thing to accomplish, especially
Yeah.
as a middle schooler. Um, and he ended up running like 5:16, 5:17, and then you kind of look back and you're like, man, like I mean, you get what you put in. If you don't have it like fully in, like those are kind of the results you're going to get. But and now he's doing full time cross country, and it's like, okay, I
Mhm.
guess we'll see what kind of happens. Was was it hard for you to kind of let go of soccer because you have been doing it so long, or were you kind of just ready to give it up?
I mean, even before I started cross country, I had like a lot of issues with soccer, like just personally and stuff. And I mean, soccer is a very competitive, hard sport. Like, you have to put everything into soccer. And same thing with cross country and track, obviously. But um, it was just getting to the level where you just had to like go all into soccer. And um, I wasn't always like I was never the best player for soccer. So it was definitely difficult leaving soccer, but I mean, I just ended up loving running so much more than I ever felt for soccer that I was like, well, if I enjoy running more, then I should do that and not soccer. And I mean, I knew if I like joined the track team, they'd want me there, and um, it would be okay if I left soccer. So that's how I felt about that.
No, that's
But
cool.
definitely like do feel sometimes how I miss soccer, especially with a lot of my club friends like texting me because it's my first season not with them, and they're like, "You should come back," and I'm like, "Guys, I can't."
Um, no, that's understandable. It really is. For somebody who like I've been running, uh, I don't know. I think I was started like 5th grade, 6th grade. But I've always wanted to play soccer. Um, so I'm like super jealous of. I mean, you say you're not good. That I'm definitely not that good. I'll play with the boys in the backyard or something like that. Growing up, but like that's basically about it. Um, but no, that's cool. That is cool. That you again, you kind of you have to focus on one or the other to be really good at it. And but it's nice that you found a love in running. And obviously, I always think cross country teams, in my personal opinion, especially versus like track, but I always found like cross country teams to be really close knit, and it's just a different kind of bond. I'm sure maybe you probably felt that in club soccer as well, but I definitely I can understand kind of finding that love for the sport, especially with a team around you.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's get into. I know it's crazy because I want to talk about cross country last season as we're about to get ready for this season with obviously eye opener
Hmm.
coming up here in a little bit. But last season, PR 2029, was that something you were kind of expecting or
Um, I actually was not expecting that at all. I mean, I was expecting to PR, hopefully at least. But my last season before that, which was also my first season, obviously I was new to the sport. And as I said, I didn't have a hard time transitioning from soccer to cross country, even though I was doing it at the same time. But I, like halfway through that season, I got injured with my foot, like something with my arch. There was something wrong with it. So a lot of the meets I couldn't actually run in. And by the end of the season, I didn't even run in state that year because my foot, I wasn't allowed to. But I PR'd my second ever meet, and I never PR'd again in that season, which was 22:01, I think is what it was. Something around there.
there you go.
So this season I was worried about that injury, or well, last season I was worried about it coming back, and I was hoping I'd be able to PR and keep PRing because obviously that's the goal. But I was worried about the same thing happening like the season before that, But I ended up actually progressing very well the whole season. Every meet almost I PR'd. I PR'd at state qual finally. That was my final PR. So yeah, I mean it was a good season for me. I dropped a minute and a half off my time after barely running the season before too, and being still a relatively new runner. So it was a pretty
Yeah,
good season.
yeah, no, for sure. And when you are running, um, I mean, state quals is definitely, or obviously it was at Jackson. Um, Now it's at Newberry this year. But um, first off, I guess, do you like the course? Do you like Fort Jackson?
Um, it was our first time running on it, and I mean, it was a different vibe than a lot of the other courses because it was a loop, and it was you could really see the whole course the whole time running, and it was like pretty flat and not in the woods, but there was that one big hill that you had to go up twice, and that hill was pretty rough. But I mean, I liked it overall.
Yeah, with that course, I always find it interesting. You bring up a good point, that you can see pretty much the whole thing from really anywhere you are. If you just turn your head, you'll be able to see, 400 meters behind you, and there's no trails, there's no woods really, and yeah, besides the hill over there, obviously you get to states and 60th finish there. Um, is that something you were kind of expecting? Were you looking to get higher up, or were you just kind of like running it? Because again, this was your first. I mean, I was like, real
Yeah.
states and everything. So just kind of going into it, seeing what happens.
Yeah, I mean that week, obviously I PR'd the week before that, but then I had actually played in a soccer game right after state qual. And this is one of the big reasons that pushed me away from soccer. In that game, we had no subs, and I was playing center mid, so doing a lot of running. And I mean, I was obviously tired, but I had gotten so used to like a meet and then immediately a game. So I was pretty good on that. But I ended up, this girl stepped on my foot and like I fell, but my foot was under her foot. So my foot stayed up, but I was falling over. And it twisted and sprained the top of my foot. And so that entire game I had to play through it. It was so painful. And then state was obviously the next week. So Coach Kelly and Coach Alicia weren't too happy about that. And I also, on top of that, was sick. So going into state, sick and a sprained foot, I just wanted to finish, do my best for my team, and I still ran a little faster, I think, or right around where I had like 2 weeks prior, which was a PR then. So it was a pretty good time. So I was okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Newberry,
Mm-hmm.
being the course that it is. I mean, yeah, to even run remotely close to, um, a PR time is a good day. You being an 800 girl, to be able to transition to cross country distance, do you, because I know, again, you go back and you say like the transition was easier to run cross country, but usually most cross country runners aren't like 800-meter like specialists either. Do you like attribute that speed to soccer?
Yeah, I definitely think most of my like ability to run an 800 came from soccer because even when I hadn't started track and was just doing cross country, I was definitely really good at like kicking and starting off the race. Like I was pretty good at like that first initial sprint and like ending it off with the sprint. I never did like anything crazy. It wasn't like insane, but I felt like it was pretty like good. Like I felt good with it. So I definitely felt like that came from soccer and switching to the 800, which yeah, like you said, a lot of distance runners don't really do that. They focus on the mile and 2 mile. I feel like yeah, that definitely came from soccer, and I do really like the 800 in the shorter distance. I feel like that just came from soccer. I was just comfortable with that already. So yeah.
Do you think you have a kick?
I mean, my kick's like for a 5K, it's okay. I feel like it was never like, whoa, that's crazy. But I just felt like I was like pretty, like my body was okay with it because of soccer. And so transitioning that to an 800, I feel like I was pretty good at that and kicking at the end.
Does your team say you have a good kick?
When
Are they
we,
jealous? I mean, I'd be a little jealous because you're running, such a good 800. I mean, speed for distance runners is usually not there. That's why I'm
yeah,
like my kick is like my teammates continued to say I could never kick. I think I beat one person in a kick my entire career. So that's why I asked. Like,
yeah.
does your team at least think like, oh man, like Scarlett, she's fast as heck.
Yeah, my when we were doing track and I run an 800, I my coaches would get on me about this. I kind of start off pretty slow. I don't like burning my energy initially and I need to work past that. But so I would start off pretty slow. Not that I didn't like speed up obviously. But my kick, I would definitely conserve all my energy for the end and just kick and go as fast as I could. Um, and I mean, I'll see how that works for a 5K this year because I never had the same mentality as I did towards the 800 towards a 5K because it was obviously a completely different distance. But now that I kind of understand the start and the kicking from the 800, I think I'll be able to work on that a lot better for this season.
Yeah, and so actually at the end, it was funny. I was talking to a guy in North Carolina. He ended up winning the state meet, and he just he said it was so like laser focused, especially at the line, like at the end. He just didn't really hear anybody. Is that something that you are like similar? Like, do you hear anybody cheer at the end, especially, or
No,
nothing?
I'm just like that. I don't hear anybody. I can sometimes I'll hear my coaches. I'll hear Coach Alicia, which is kind of odd. She's very quiet, and I will hear her. And I guess it's just because I hear my coach and my brain locks in. Yeah, if I hear Coach Kelly and Coach Alicia, I'll hear the most part. But other than that, I don't hear anybody. Maybe in a 5K, if it's like out in the woods and coach is randomly there, I'll hear him or her. But at the finish line, start, I don't hear anyone. I'm just tuned
Nothing.
out.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you that. Like even like at the 1 mile. I mean, because there's a lot of people who kind of creep up at the 1 mile and 2 mile just to give like splits and whatnot. Do you hear any of those numbers like that are coming out?
Sometimes I'll hear them. If it's like a random coach, I'll hear it and just try to like gauge where I'm at because obviously it's not my coach, but they're still yelling splits. So I'll try to listen to that. If I'm wearing my watch, I'll check my watch, but most of the time I don't wear it. But no, I don't really listen. I just kind of stay in my own race. I try to pick off people more, like just run my race and then speed up and like catch the next person, then catch the next person. And if I like know the people running around me, I'll try to stick with them, know their pace.
Yeah. Are you aware of like your teammates throughout the race, or again, it's kind of just focused on like the next person there?
Most of my teammates, I'm not really aware where they will be, except at the very start. Paige Kelly, Anna Kelly's little sister, um, she runs, I think her PR is like 15, 30 seconds behind mine, but most of the time we'll run together and like workouts and stuff, we're always running together. So in a 5K, I'll pay attention where she's at. If we're like together, we'll like work together, try and move up. Yeah, that's the only teammate though I really pay attention to.
Yeah. No. It's there's one there's one race, and it's actually on video too. Thankfully, um, when I was running, it was my senior year. It was our ooh, it was our conference meet, and like conference is like really big in Florida, and didn't realize like what the guys were doing behind me because I had one other teammate and we were up in the front, and we ended up coming through 1, 2, 3, 4 at the 2 mile, and I was like, oh my gosh, like all of us are together, and it's interesting that like you notice those things and it kind of motivates you in a way. Like if I see a teammate, it's like, oh man, like this is pretty cool. Like we're together and whatnot. Um, Last question for cross country. Favorite course?
I definitely liked Starlight that we did sophomore year, but we didn't do it last year, but we're doing it this year. That's just so much fun and there's so many people. I like Lake Murray, which is like an unpopular opinion because it's very like little hills, but I don't know. I've kind of liked that one. And I definitely like our home course. It's just probably being at home. I just like it being there.
Yeah, you bring up some good points. Lake Murray is I don't think it's that bad. I really don't like you have there's some hills. I will say that. There's some hills out there, but I'm kind of with you. I don't think it's that bad. And then yeah, Starlight, that's one we always hear is like everybody loves running
Hmm.
Starlight. And it was kind of a bummer last year that it got the hurricane and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Kind of postponing it, but obviously there's a lot of hype around it this year as well. And then you
Mhm.
said, oh yeah, your home course. I
Yeah.
actually don't mind your home course. I think you guys have a solid like real estate out there. Um, obviously I've never done a 5K out there before, but and I guess you bring up a good point of just like yeah, being at home. Um, you kind of know where everything is. Like you know where the little bumps are, where the rock is, or you know what I mean. Like there's things like that. So
And it's
it makes sense.
relatively flat too. And I mean, if we were coming from another school running there, I would be definitely confused with how our course is just kind of confusing. But no, I definitely like that one.
Yeah, you bring up it is flat. It is relatively flat too. And the woods part too is not even like I don't. It doesn't feel like it's that long. At least like going
No, it's
through it or
really good.
whatnot. It seems pretty short. Okay, so let's get into track. So track 25, PR 230 and the 800. Now, have you always just kind of liked the shorter stuff? Because like you said, and we talked about, most cross country runners will gravitate towards the 1 mile or the 2 mile, and you see some dabble in the eight, and some kind of like you just have that pure like speed to be able to do that. Um, was that always an event you wanted to do, or was there any thought about doing the mile, 2 mile, like at all?
Well, like even before, like I thought about doing track, sophomore year, like the seniors and stuff, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you have to do cross or not cross country track," and they'd be like, "You're a great 800 runner, like you would do so good." And for a while, people were telling me that too. And I definitely loved the idea of it, like just 2 laps around the track, just a little sprint. Like I've definitely like sprinting. I mean, obviously it's not like 100, but I really do like that picking it up more than you can in a 5K. So I just always liked that idea, and so when I joined track, that's what I ended up doing. And the 2 mile just did not sound fun to me. Eight
Eight
laps.
laps.
And I mean, we have Anna and Mal. We did in
Yeah.
that. So I mean, they had that. They're good. In the mile, we had Mal, Paige. So like, we needed another 800 runner. So I just kind of fell into that place.
Yeah, I feel like 8 laps is always a turn off to people. Ironically enough, I've done 5Ks on the track alone before, and I feel like it's tough. It is tough as crap. But I mean, it's I don't know, something about it too can give you a lot of confidence, especially doing it alone. Is there ever gonna be? Are we gonna see maybe one time in the mile this season for track 26, or just no?
Um,
Like we're just focused on the eight. That's it. Because I think people would want to see it. I would want to see it.
I'd like to go in the mile at least once because I don't even have a time for it. I did run it the one time we ran the DMR, but yeah, I'd love to just see what I could do with my 800 time. I definitely feel like I could get a good mile time. And I had ran the 1500 in a meet, and I think it was 15:15 was what it was. So if I had that for 1500, I definitely think I could get a good time for a mile.
Yeah, we'll hold you to it. We'll talk to Coach Kelly and Alicia about it. All right. So for the eight, you look at you started off 243, and then obviously drop it down to 230. Good 13-second drop from the beginning to the end of the season. Was there was there anything you just kind of saw that like things were clicking more, like were the workouts getting easier, or you're just like top end speed was just getting you were able to hold it longer? Like what is that kind of growth? Because obviously, like I said, I'm not an 800 guy. I've done the 4x8, and that was it. Like, just because I needed somebody, and I was like, I was 205, and like you just weren't getting a sub 2 out of me. And so yeah, so what like where does that come from? Like I said, did you just notice the speed? You could hold it for a longer time throughout the season.
I feel like definitely it was just at first like I needed to learn it because especially like preseason and stuff before we had any meets and ran 800. Obviously I didn't know like how it would be. It's obviously much shorter than a 5K. So I was just kind of had to feel it out because that's such an awkward distance, you know? It's like between a 400 and then the mile. Like that's just such a weird distance and it's like right between a sprint and like slowing down for long distance. So I feel like I just needed to get in a few meets and runs in to really understand how to run it and understand the strategy of it, how other people would run it. And I feel like that really helped, and definitely the workouts we had. We had some good workouts that Coach Alicia would give us that would help us with like endurance, but also sprinting and kicking. And I feel like that really helped my kick, my start, and just overall performance. I mean, I feel like I could really see my progression in track season. And even just like a 4 miles, like I could see how much faster I was getting from these workouts.
Yeah, with the 800 too, it's like you said, it's in a weird spot because you you do have to conserve a bit. I mean, you can't sprint the. I mean, you could. I guess you could sprint the whole thing. Ironically enough, side quest here. There was a girl. She ran like 210 in Florida, like way back in the day. But she would sprint the first lap all out. She would have like I promise you, she would have 100-meter lead on the whole field, and she would die, crawl to the finish. But she would run 213, 210, and
Yeah.
it was like I mean, I guess it works, but there's so many people try to convert her. But like you look at the 800, and it almost is so like you have to have like that instinct about it, like when to go, when to
Mhm.
kick. Is that something that you think kind of came? I don't want to say naturally, but did it come like easier over the season? Like because you have to just make that move. If the field starts going, and you said you kind of start a little bit slower, so I mean, you have to have some confidence to be able to know, like, hey, I'm going to be able to kind of reel it back in. Um, but is it kind of just really situational? It just started getting easier, like you started recognizing certain situations to like, hey, they're about to go. I have to start going now. Like I have to push here.
Yeah, I definitely over the season kind of figured out how other people would run it and how I would need to like, work my way up and, try and win. Um, I noticed that like how a lot of people would go out crazy fast at the start, and I definitely struggled with getting out more than a lot of people do for an 800. But some people would just go crazy out and draw other people out, and then they would all die by the second lap. And then I would kind of notice if there was someone in front of me like dying out and they were slowing down that I needed to go past. Like I could recognize that their like form was breaking down, their breaths were heavy. And then around the 600 mark, notice how everyone's picking it up. If someone's not really picking it up, to quickly go around them around the curve, even though that's really hard to do. It's just what you have to do. And then make sure once I got around that curve that I just gave it everything, sprinted as hard as I could. And that was kind of how I would see other people doing it, and how I could like match their um, abilities, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that too. Is like because you will see that you'll see um some people take it out, and others just follow. They follow, and it's like, well, and again, that's like an instinct move to be like, all right, like I'm betting that they're gonna die out. You kind of have that faith of like things are like that's I'm going fast, they're going like way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. Honestly, it's really tactical too. I actually did that for a teammate of mine. We were both in the mile, but my event was the 2 mile, and that was my best way forward to go to state. Uh, just to give him a better shot, I went out and took like the first 400 and just blew it out of the water to try and get people to follow.
Hmm.
And he knew that, so trying to get some of those legs to die out for him to be able to kind of push through the rest of the way and make it on. And he actually ended up going to state, so I don't know if I helped at all, but um, he did his thing. Um, but yeah, no. So when you look at the whole season overall, I look at 230 as like just get that 229, and it like really kind of it knocks over another level.
Yeah.
And that's where like most things, like when you break 20 this year, because you're gonna do it, um, it's like another level
Yeah.
of running. Were you happy with the 230 overall, like for the season? Because again, you said you're starting to transition over fully and whatnot, but what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I was kind of upset about it because I was consistently getting to 30, which is not a bad thing. Like, it's good I was consistent, but kept going and getting that. Like, I think I was getting 32 for a while too. Like, I would just bounce between those two. And I was kind of upset since it had been like a few weeks and I was just getting that over and I just wanted to break that 30. I did one time in like a 4x8 get 28, and I was like, oh, if only I could have gotten that for my actual PR. And then so I thought, I would be able to break 30 then, but then it just never ended up happening.
It's never happened. No, it's gonna happen though. It's inevitable. It's inevitable, which is it's the tough part about running, because it's like you're capable of X, Y, and Z, and it's just a matter of time. But sometimes it just has to be the race.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many times where it's like, oh, it's too windy that day, or you'd be running in 20-mile-per-hour winds, or it's storming, or instead of going out fast, everybody just wants to go out slow and make a tactical. So it's
Yeah.
like sometimes it really is just the kind of racer you're dealt. But yeah, it's inevitable. Like you said, did you split? You already split 228 in an 8 or in a 4 base. What, sub 220? I guess for this next track season is the goal. Like, you trying to go like well under that?
I definitely would love 220. Like, that would definitely be the goal. Definitely first set for 25, then get to 20. But yes, I would love sub 20.
Let's just shoot for 215, call it a day. So, okay, um, cross country now. Cross 25. Oof. It's crazy. The summer went by so fast, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously we're already in school again now, and yeah, like I remember the first like practice for Blythewood, like in the summer, like starting off, and here we are now. How was the summer training for you? How do you think you got kind of everything you wanted to out of it? Like, did you build the base up like you wanted, or what?
I was doing really good in June, and then July I had gotten a migraine after one of my runs, and I feel like that set me back a bit. But I think by now I've worked back up, and I think I'm good and set for the season. I definitely trained a lot more this summer than I did last summer, and also having track season coming off of that because before I had soccer and I didn't really run during soccer season. So I feel like I just have so much more that's built up this year than I did last year for like a good season.
Yeah, it's most runners do know, but there's still a good handful that don't. Track is so important to cross country. Um, I mean, that's just where you get all that speed from. And yeah, like I said, I mean, sub 20 is kind of like. I mean, how do we feel? Are we gonna see it at eye opener, or we're not? Like maybe not yet. Like, are we in that kind of shape?
Um, I'd hope so. I definitely want to be around there for eye opener at least. Eye opener, I definitely just want to get out, get a good time, and just see how I'm feeling for the season and see what I need to.
Yeah, it's opening at eye opener is it's tough. It's tough sometimes. Like you saw obviously last year, you guys opened up at Westwood, which I think is great, honestly, to open up a kind of a lower meet and
Yeah.
whatnot. But their meet isn't until like September. Their first meet's not until September. Yeah, so they really pushed it back. And you saw some teams open up last weekend. Skyhawk,
Hmm.
Somerville had one as well. So I feel like they kind of got the nerves out a bit,
Yeah.
um, because that's always can be like a woohoo moment, kind of starting off
Hmm.
again with cross country. Um, do you think you're gonna have those kind of nerves, those jitters on the line at eye opener, or are you seasoned enough to maybe be like, all right, like I'm not gonna fall for the freshman, like let me kick already with 4,900 meters to go.
No, I think I definitely know more of what's going on this year. And last year was my first time actually running an eye opener. So last year I didn't really know what to expect from the course, but now I know the course, know how many people's gonna be there. I feel like I'm much more prepared for eye opener this year than I was last year. And especially with just how big that meet is with all the people there, it definitely can like get on your nerves and like work you up. But I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. Um, and that's why summer training is so important too. Like
Mhm.
just because you can again you can kind of if you can tell where you're kind of at, you can try and get some of those nerves out, especially with some workouts and whatnot. But hey, eye opener is eye opener. It's just so
Yeah,
huge.
it
Um,
is.
so goals for cross country. Again, I think sub 20 has to be like it's got to be one of the first ones there.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? Are we thinking 18s? Are we gonna go like 1859?
Um, I yes, definitely 20. Break 20 is the first goal I want to hit. I'd really like to get down low in the 19s. I mean, last year I got off a whole minute and a half, and I didn't have track that year, and it was really my second year ever running, and so now I just have so much experience, so much like distance under me, and I'm so trained. I feel like I could definitely get in the low 19s. I think that would be the goal.
Well, if we're low 19s, then just 1859. So there we go. Starlight, 1859. Um, a couple more questions before we wrap it up here. Rankings. I'm always curious. Like, do you, or like even as a team, do you guys look at rankings at all? Like, because there's a bunch of different stuff that comes out. I feel like now everybody wants to dabble into like rankings and like
Hmm.
whatnot. Do you ever pay attention to that stuff, or it's just like, whatever?
I mean, like I follow certain things that like show rankings, but I don't really pay close attention. For me personally, I don't really look at where there's like rankings of me. I look at a lot of people that are running around me that are going to be in like upcoming races to see like if I should stick with them, see like who they are. But I don't really look at rankings of teams or me personally. It's just want to stay focused instead.
Yeah, rankings are they're interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of rankings right now are just so like computerized and don't really have too much personality to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at doing some rankings here, just because I like this is literally my life now. So, um, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see. Um, last thing before we close it out, I've mentioned on the podcast before that I wish I would have asked this question like a long time ago to runners, and now I've been kind of doing a lot more. Um, advice, advice. Like what? Obviously, your running career started a little bit later, and doing soccer. Now your full time commitment to running here. Um, and like I mentioned with like eye opener, you're gonna get those freshmen who just like go out, and there's the nerves of running. Like, how do I do it? They haven't been in situations that you have been in on the track as well. What advice would you give to an incoming freshman who's like now just getting into the sport, doesn't know any of these tactics, and has to kind of navigate through to find their path?
I would definitely say just work on your own race, focus on your own race. For me personally, I know going into it, I was very nervous about 3.1 miles. That sounded insane, running as fast as I could. And just not to focus on that part, just run your race, know how your body feels. Don't pay attention to what other people are doing because a lot of other people don't really know what's going on either. Um, and make sure you stay consistent with your running because it really makes a difference 2 weeks up to a race running Monday through Friday compared to not running the whole time, running a meet, which obviously no coach would let happen, but um, it, it definitely makes an impact on your running. So definitely stay consistent.
No, good words, good words. Consistency, definitely, definitely consistency. Um, Last question: college. Do you want to run in college? Is it a thought right now, or you just want to finish
Um,
up high school?
Maybe I'm not sure. It's a possibility. I would consider it.
If the opportunity is there, why not?
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, when you're running 18:59s and 2:15s, I mean, I'm sure the offers are going to be coming in left and right. All right. Hey, wish you the best of luck. Obviously, eye opener is like right here, literally right
hmm
here. Um, we'll be covering you all year. The team, literally, I'm attached to the hip with you guys. So
Yeah.
wherever you guys go, I'm going. So, yeah, wish you the best of luck, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And I'm gonna hold you to the fire with 1859 at Starlight.
Thank you. I'll try my best.